Okay, we're going to go ahead and get started. Good afternoon and welcome to our third in a series of 10 webinars focused on affordable housing. My name is Teresa Murphy and I'll be your official moderator for today. So we're continuing this program from 2021 and the annual theme is opening more doors in 2022. Each webinar will be geared towards educating the realtor community about programs, solutions, and opportunities for your clients in this ever-changing financial environment. Throughout the year, we hope to provide information that will create more awareness and take away any stigmas associated with the idea of affordable housing. So most of our sessions will be held from 12 to 1:30, and you can register online at www.har.com/webinars. And these will continue to be free for all of our members. Today's program is presented by Freddie Mac and is centered around solutions for buyers overcoming the aging housing stock. Before I introduce your speakers, I would like to remind you to put your questions in the chat throughout the afternoon. You can choose the questions to go to everyone or just the panelists, but all questions will be fielded and addressed as time permits. And since I know you will ask, this is going to be recorded and will be posted on our HAR TV YouTube channel at har.com/HARTV. Now let's get started. We have exceptional subject matter experts leading you through our program today. First, we have Sandra Heidinger. She's an affordable lending manager in the Single Family Affordable Lending and Access to Credit organization. In this capacity, Sandra creates production strategies, lending opportunities for Freddie Mac's lender customers. Working collaboratively with lenders, nonprofit agencies, and government agencies, she creates outreach initiatives designed to increase home ownership opportunities and preserve home ownership for underserved families. She analyzes market data to identify trends, opportunities, and develop strategic direction for market information. A veteran in the mortgage industry, Sandra joined Freddie Mac in 1997 and has held a variety of roles, which include affordable lending, national lending sales, customer education, default management servicing, and contract management. Prior to joining Freddie Mac, Sandra worked in the primary market in various roles, which include underwriting, origination, processing, and closing. Sandra graduated from Roosevelt University in Chicago, Illinois, and she holds a degree in business administration and finance. Sandra holds the accredited mortgage professional certification from the National Mortgage Bankers Association, and she is based in Freddie Mac's Chicago regional office. We're so happy to have Sandra with us today. And then in addition to Sandra, we also have Kale Salmons with Prime Lending joining us. Kale has been with Prime Lending since 2006 and is currently the Senior Vice President of Strategic Sales. As Senior Vice President of Strategic Sales, Kale is responsible for the strategic direction and day-to-day management of Prime Lending's Construction and Renovation Lending Department and National Lending Center. During his tenure, Kale has had significant impact on building Prime Lending's presence in construction and renovation lending. Kale has 25 years of experience in the mortgage banking industry, and prior to joining Prime Lending, Kale owned his own mortgage brokerage. Kale resides in North Texas with his wife and 2 daughters. So thank you again for joining us, and I will now pass the platform over to Sandra.
Awesome. Thank you so much, Teresa. And I was trying to add up all the years between Kale and myself, I think in this industry, and I'm like, oh, Lord, Kale, I think it's about 70, 75 years worth of experience between the two of us here. I was like, whoa.
There's a lot of years, but it's been great.
It absolutely has been. So with that, I'm going to start us out giving us some information about our how to make a difference in some of the solutions out here in the marketplace. Talk a little bit about the environment and going into a little bit of detail here for our Choice renovation as well as our GreenCHOICE offerings that we have. So and then I'll bring Kale in afterwards and we'll have a little conversation. So as we get started here, looking at the market environment, honestly, I'm not really telling you anything that you don't already know. You know, as we see on the next slide, that the housing stock is getting old. You know, a good 40% of the housing stock in the country is over 50 years old. So people looking to buy, you know, they may need a few repairs, right? The shortfall, I mean, we all have seen it all over the country as well, trying to find some affordable housing stock that's for sale, right? There's also a huge number of millennials looking to buy homes and trying to find that an affordable housing option. And last but certainly not least, those that are 55 years and older, those baby boomers and retirees, some are opting to stay in place, some are wanting to downsize. You know, it's just really determining what's going on in their space at this time. On the next slide, one thing we see, 80% of the nation's housing stock, 137 million of homes, at least 20 years old, right? That's almost 110 million homes that could benefit from home improvement. That's a huge amount of opportunity out here for everyone. There's also almost 55 million homes that are at least 50 years old. This is that 40% that I was talking about a little earlier that could definitely use some, some significant renovation. Where do we find a lot of the renovation taking place? As we look on the next slide, we're seeing a good portion of those taking place through the Sun Belt, all through the Sun Belt here. Texas, of course, being one of those. Couple things that take place in Texas that is good opportunity, not only for the regular choice renovation, but GreenCHOICE. And we'll talk more about that in just a moment, because lots and lots of sunshine in Texas, right? Why not take advantage of some of the solar opportunities? So again, great opportunities as we're seeing in the different markets, but especially as we're talking about Texas. And this is also a great time to take advantage of our low down payment product offerings as well. When you are looking at those renovation products, regardless if it's Choice Renovation or if it happens to be GreenCHOICE, as we see on the next slide, you can combine that, financing it, getting, as little as 3% down with our Home Possible offering, our Home One offering, and our HFA Advantage. So today we wanted to talk more about the actual renovation offerings. So let's start out talking about Choice Renovation. Choice 101, CHOICEReno 101. So, all right. I know we've got a lot of real estate professionals in the room, and I know you guys like we use some keywords sometimes, and I'd like for you guys to engage with me in chat here for a quick minute. When you hear the word charming, what do you think? What do you think? Okay, I see somebody putting old, small. Yeah, charming could be small a lot of times, interpreted as small. What about vintage? Vintage, old, yeah, old. That's right. Hidden potential. What about hidden potential? What are you thinking then? Oh, Lord, even older. Do I even want to look at it? Yeah, do I even want to look at it? Exactly right. So that's where it's so important, to know about these options that are out here and some things that you can use our Choice Renovation product with, right? Because right now, with the housing stock being in the state that it is, trying to find a house, people may find the house that they want in the location they want, but might need a little bit of work. And that's where Choice Renovation could be a great option for your clients that you're working with, because it allows them to renovate that product or renovate that house, bring it up to date a little bit. Also allows them to finance in as much as 6 months of PITI, because maybe they need to knock out the whole kitchen and have it rebuilt. So maybe they need to stay in a hotel for a few months until it's complete. They can finance that 6 months in. What? Exactly. It allows to pay for the soft costs related to the build, such as permits, the plans and specs, and the drawings. It allows for all of that as well. something, it allows to pay for resilient upgrades, including those retaining walls, foundations, the storm surge barriers. So, it's a great product to be able to take advantage of. As we look at the next slide, the one thing that you can do, they can finance up to 75% of the as-is completed value of the property, okay? And they can draw 50% of the material costs at closing. That's huge for them to be able to get started on. It allows for a single close. That way the lender can go ahead, close it, sell it to us, and the borrower would have up to a year to complete the rehabbing, right? It's a year from the note date to complete it. And that's a great opportunity, right, for them to be able to move forward, okay? That it allows for a single closing for either as a purchase or as a no cash out refi. So there's a couple different ways that you can work this particular deal, okay? As we look on the next slide, we see that proceeds, they can only be used to finance the renovations to an existing property, okay? So they can't do a total knockdown, okay? You cannot do a total knockdown of the property, of the building that's there, a total raise of it. That's one thing you cannot do. But they can renovate a good portion of it. And it cannot be used, the funds cannot be used to pay for any personal property either, okay? The only exception to that would be for new appliances. That's the only thing from that perspective that can be done, okay? So that's the full on choice renovation. Now we've also come out with an express product, if you will, and that one allows for a smaller scale project, okay? They can still do the same type of thing as far as close and deliver, but this one they have 180 days to complete the work after closing from the note date, okay? And it is a smaller amount that could be utilized in this. They can finance as much as 10% or less of the home's as is completed value, okay, appraised value. Now, if it happens to be in a high needs rural area, they can finance as much as 15% of the as is completed value. Out here for any lender to use. And again, it's an easier lift for a lender to be able to take advantage of, okay? So the benefits of all of this, it's going to save your client time and money, being able to skip that interim financing, allowing them to upgrade the home, the home in the location that they are wanting to finance, right? And in the location they want to be in, as well as being able to pair it with one of our low down payment loans. As little as 3% down. That is phenomenal, right? Now, what if you wanted to do some retrofitting to maybe make it more energy efficient? Make it more energy efficient, right? Let's talk about our GreenCHOICE, okay? So this is going to look similar to the Choice Express, if you will, the Choice Renovation Express. Now for GreenCHOICE, you can finance as much as 15% of the as-is completed value of the property, okay? And it would be, again, able to close it prior to the completion of the repairs to the property. And the lender can continue down that path to deliver it. The borrower can move forward with the renovations, okay, after closing. So did you happen to know on this next slide, more than half of a household's energy usage goes towards heating and cooling. So this product, with financing the energy efficiency is going to help on utility cost savings. That is a huge that is huge in this space, right? Especially as we're seeing costs go up in this marketplace. And with the pandemic, so many people have been at home. That is what's been, I'm sure a lot of folks have been seeing increases in their utility bills. So with taking advantage of the green choice and energy efficiency opportunities, that can help save some of their monthly utilities, right? In this next slide, some of the things that we see that it does support, again, the improvements that lead to utility cost savings, financing as much as that 15% as is. Now, some things that we look at, I'm sorry, let me back up a second. If you're doing, because I know some of you may be thinking, well, do I need to get a HERS report, which is the energy efficient report, for having doing the choice or energy efficiency, the energy efficient renovations into the property. You may be thinking you may have to get this energy report. That is only if you're looking at something greater than $6,500 in improvements. Okay, only if it's more than $6,500 in improvements. Now, the exception to that would be if you're doing solar panels. If you're doing solar panels, you don't have to have that energy efficient report. So that would make a big difference as well, as far as what would be required in that space. Okay. So what does it allow? What are some things that we can be looking for improvements? Some examples of improvements that you could be doing. So we look at slide 19, this next slide. So programmable thermostats. What about caulking, weather stripping, replacement of doors and windows? What about replacing some of the appliances to make them more energy efficient, such as refrigerators, freezers, water heaters, light bulbs? What about solar water heaters, the low flow water fixtures, air sealing? What about air conditioning? Air sealing would be like the sealants around the windows, for example, right? Some of those examples. Do you guys think that this is something that you could find beneficial in Texas? Is this an option for green renovations? What do you guys think? You think this is something that some of your clients could be interested in? That's good. That's great to hear. Great to hear. All right. So again, as we look at all of this, we're seeing so many of the options of the benefits that your borrowers, your clients could take advantage of, not only with the choice renovation, but the green choice, right? And how the benefits for some of these older homes, not only for just renovation for aesthetics, but for energy efficiency. So we've got two great options here that we definitely would like to have more conversation here with you guys about. Before I totally close out and turn this conversation and bring Kale into the conversation, I want to point out one thing here for all of you real estate professionals in the room. We do have a real estate professional resource center that we would love for you guys to make sure that you register. We are always, sending out information, a good maybe a couple times a month, sending out information, just keeping you apprised, because of course you are the trusted advisor, the trusted intermediary in the marketplace. So we definitely, this is just some more tools for your toolbox. Make sure that you register, because again, we will be sending out all kinds of great information to you to help you in that space. The other piece that you can do in this as well is, because you as a real estate advisor, a real estate professional, you're the guys with boots on the ground. So the way that we change and administer programs that we have are by listening to what you have to say. there's a spot within the Resource Center. You can also make suggestions, make comments about what you are seeing out there, because that's how we change what we do. So we definitely want to hear from you too. Make sure that you do subscribe. Make sure that we do hear from you, because this is a two-way street. We never like to just be the talking head in the room. We want to hear from you and what you have to say in this space as well. So with that, I'd like to bring Kale in this conversation here and have a little bit of conversation about what we have just gone over. So Kale, as a lender, I mean, I talk kind of high level around both of the product offerings, GreenCHOICE and CHOICERenovation. So question that I have for you, what kinds of repairs for renovation lending, what kind of repairs could, like one of the real estate professionals in the room here, they're showing houses to one of their clients. What kind of renovations could they be doing to some of these houses that they're looking at?
First of all, thank you very much for having me. I'm excited to discuss these programs and the wonderful options that Freddie has brought to us here today. But you're asking what kind of repairs can be made. So I heard you talk a lot about required repairs, or items that might be required or really need to be fixed, such as septic system issues, or electrical system, plumbing issues, all these things that are going to be required most likely to get your loan. But you can also, we'll also allow the clients to do desired repairs. So anything along the lines of, the house is 20 years old. 20 years ago, a lot of the items that are available today weren't even in existence. And so those would be desired. So we'll allow those to be brought in as well, as far as a kitchen remodel, bathroom remodels. They could do some painting. We go as far as allowing them to do swimming pools and auxiliary dwelling units. So pretty much, as you mentioned earlier, we can allow them to do whatever they want as long as they don't knock the whole house down. So
that's awesome. That is awesome. And yeah, because to your point, some of these older homes, maybe there's a 3-bedroom home with 1 bathroom. Maybe they'd like to add another bathroom, right? Stuff like that.
For sure. Yeah. We'll allow them to take their footprint and go out or up. We've seen several homes where they've actually added a second story or built out over a garage. It's amazing of what we'll allow them, or what you guys will allow them to do. And we help facilitate. Several lenders have overlays, but Prime Lending has removed all of our overlays, and whatever you guys will allow as Freddie Mac, we're on board with, and we want to make sure that your clients are getting the house they want and need.
That's awesome. Awesome. So Kale, tell me something. So how could a realtor, how might they go about asking or working with a lender such as you that offers the CHOICERenovation products?
Well, a lot of times you, as a realtor, you're going in, whether you're a buying agent or a selling agent, you're going to know right off the bat whether or not that house is going to need some type of repair, or remodel or renovation, or just some general upgrades. Prime Lending, we do have a list of contractors that we've worked with in the past that we've validated to make sure they're insured, that they're following all codes, they're pulling permits and doing it the right way. And so by working with a lender like Prime Lending, you can come to us. We can definitely share that list with you. And on the flip side, if you don't know who you're going to work with yet, but you know the house needs some repairs, I would definitely go out and talk to a contractor. As you being the realtor, go out and reach out to a contractor in advance and kind of get an estimate of what it's going to cost to redo the kitchen or redo the bathroom. That will help you move through the process a little quicker.
Good stuff. Good stuff. So Kale, can CHOICERenovation be done on a 1, 2, 3, or 4 unit property, or is it only a 1 unit property?
Yeah, actually, the choice can be done on a 1 to 4 unit owner occupied. And it could also be done on a second home or an investment property. So if you have an investor out there, we'll allow them to do the choice renovation on a single unit investment property.
Awesome. Good stuff. Good stuff. So, what kind of condition does the property have to be in? I mean, do we really care? I mean, do you care about the current condition of the property?
Not at all. What we're going to look at is what the house or the home is going to be at the end of the renovation. So when we're going to order the appraisal, we're going to make sure that our appraiser gets that bid to make the repairs, the remodel, the updates, and we're going to go off the appraised value as far, or the subject to completion value. And so your bid is going to be up to 75% of your loan amount could be in repairs. You can finance up to, depending on your borrower, up to 97% total. And so as long as at the end, we can have clear through the counties and clear our permits, we don't care what it's like, what condition it's like today.
Awesome. Awesome. I'd like to explore a little bit more because earlier we're talking about those desired repairs or required repairs. So I kind of equate that to sometimes talking with kids about, do you really need it or do you want it? Right. So maybe let's talk about that. Some type of repairs or just nice twos that they may want to do if they can use it with the choice renovation.
Yes, ma'am. So some of
So I'm gonna put something out here. What about a pool? What if I'm like, I'm in Houston. It's hot in Houston in the summer, right? Could I use this to put a pool in my yard?
yes, ma'am. We can do swimming pools, all kinds of desired repairs. What we're looking at is we just want to make sure I won't call it a repair, but the additions are permanently affixed to the property. Some other programs that are out there, they require the additions to be affixed to the home. You're looking at an FHA loan, for example, it has to be affixed to the dwelling. But Freddie Mac has stepped out and they're just saying fixed to the property. So if when you're moving out, something you can't stick under your arm and carry with you, you can pretty much get that financed in with the purchase of this home using the choice renovation. So that's going to be,
awesome.
your updated refrigerators that have all the computer technology in them that can tell you what you're missing, that you're out of milk, or you might need to get some more coffee. All of those fancy items can be rolled in, going from a Formica to a granite or some other luxury countertops in your kitchen. So go ahead and roll it on in. We can get it done.
I love it. So I'm gonna go back to the pool. So I'm hearing you tell me, or am I hearing you tell me that, yeah, you can do a pool, but it's got to be in the ground. We won't do above ground, right? Because that's something they can take under their arm and go away. Am I hearing that right?
That is correct. It does have to be permanently affixed to the property.
Okay.
So maybe the pool, the home already has a pool, but maybe it leaks. That's something that could be done as a repair as well.
Awesome, awesome, awesome. And I think, didn't you mention at the start something about ADUs?
Yes, ma'am. So the auxiliary dwelling units. That's a big thing right now. People trying to get a little additional money off their properties, maybe renting that out as a VRBO on the weekends, maybe a mother-in-law suite. You want to do a home office now that a lot of people get to work from home, and you want to be attached from your house where the kids are inside yelling, screaming, playing all summer. So we can go ahead and do an auxiliary dwelling unit in the backyard or side yard and finance that as well.
Wow, wow. So I'm just wondering, you real estate professionals out here, what do you think about that? You think that could be some great sells, right, for some of these properties? I love that. And right now too, in that same vein that you're saying, with affordable housing where it is, I mean, for people looking for a little bit of extra income, I mean, it's a great way to add to that space. So how, if I'm a real estate agent, how should I be invested in learning about these products? And how can it really help my business if I'm a real estate professional?
All right, so we'll start with the first part, how you can learn more about it. Um, Obviously, seminars like this are fantastic. Also on the Prime Lending website, right across that primelending.com, in our top right side, there's a button that says Renovate. If you click on that, it'll tell you more about this program and what can and can't be done. We have in the Houston area 7 branches. I haven't counted, but I know there's a bunch of loan officers, and in the state of Texas as a whole, a lot more branches. And if you happen to do a loan over in Louisiana or New Mexico, we have locations there too. Any one of our team members would be more than happy to come out with myself, come out and teach you and your realtors all about the renovation programs and how to best utilize them.
That is awesome. So right now, I know we're hearing a lot of discussion out there about cash buyers. Cash buyers. So what about the competition with cash buyers and investors? How can this be used to kind of help in those situations?
Well, I'm going to give you a couple options here. As a seller, as a selling agent, you can increase the price of the property you're selling by going out beforehand and meeting with the contractor and figuring out what the cost would be to remodel the kitchen. And so that could be financed in. And so you can go ahead and help increase the price of that home, where some homes, they just have to be torn down. And these here, you can go ahead and increase your price because it's not going to be a total loss. That it's not going to cost $100,000 to redo the kitchen. It's going to be $30,000. So you can go ahead and have that bid already put together, because the appraised value is automatically going to increase once that kitchen's done. So that's the angle I would take as a selling agent. As a buyer's agent, you have a client that has the money to do a cash purchase, and go for it. Go ahead and let them buy it in cash, and they can turn right around and refinance it with a renovation loan, with the choice loan, and do all the upgrades and updates and everything they would like to do. So either way is going to work. And yeah, if they have that cash, fantastic. Let's use it. And then they can refi a week later and get the repairs made.
I love it. I love it. Great recommendations. Very great. So I've got a question here too, because I know a lot of folks, they may be hearing this, and as a real estate professional, I mean, they may be thinking, okay, if I'm bringing a client to the table to do a choice renovation mortgage, I mean, and right now we're all in such a competitive market and everybody's wanting to close quick. I mean, how is this going to delay the process to get the loan to close? I mean, am I looking at, 75 days to close this now that we're doing got to go through the renovation stuff and get all that approved? I mean, how quick can we close these?
Well, Prime Lending is closing these loans in 10, 12 days every day. It is not a huge setback. The biggest issues I see, or delays I see, is a lot of times your borrower goes in and they can't decide whether they want the walls painted red or blue or white. And that's holding up the process. When we're doing the bid, we get a very detailed bid and we just put a line item in for paint. Paint's going to be $200 regardless if it's red or white. So just make sure that your bids are detailed. And as long as we could help our clients decide exactly what they want going in, and that's where, as the realtor, if you know up front that, hey, we might want to remodel this kitchen and update the bathroom, go ahead and get some of that stuff prepared. It'll also bring you additional business by working with a contractor. But you can also do these loans with the big box stores. So run down to Home Depot or Lowe's or whatever's in your neighborhood, and they can usually throw a bid together pretty quickly just based on square footage and a couple pictures of the house. So,
Oh my goodness.
you ought to be able to get these done just as quick.
Wow. Wow. I think I'm betting if we poll the audience, I'm betting that probably won over a few hearts there. I mean, because again, at the end of the day, it is trying to get the deals closed, right? There's so much competition out there today. So this is awesome news, Kale. Thank you for that. As we are wrapping this up, what advice would you give to real estate agents to learn more about the renovation products and fitting into the discussions?
I always recommend to the real estate agents to always ask their clients, is there something that they would like to do to the home? Or is there something that needs to be done to the home? Because almost every home buyer goes in, if this room was this, or this, it would be perfect. Well, let's go ahead and do that. So ask them up front, and that can help you increase that purchase right there, and let them know that it can be done. And then reach out to one of our local loan officers there in the Houston area. If you don't have one there in the Houston area, or maybe you're a little far or a little outside of that, feel free to call me. We have a national lending center that specializes in renovation and construction lending. So we could put these loans together really quickly.
That is awesome. Thank you, Kale.
Thank you.
I've been seeing some movement out here on the chat. Let's see, do we have any questions out there? I mean, how are you guys feeling about what you've heard so far? Tell us in chat. What are you thinking? You think this is something that you can utilize with some of the clients that you're working with that can make a difference of making a sale or not making a sale? What do you guys think?
We did have a couple questions. One being,
Sure.
what types of rates are offered for these products? I know credit is a factor, net 680 plus.
Well,
About
so
that?
actually, it does not always require, it doesn't require a 680 at all. We can get these loans done as low as a 620, a credit score. And rates, you're generally going to pay anywhere from an 8 to, on the high end, maybe a quarter more for a renovation in rate. So it's really not that much more expensive, especially when you go and compare doing a renovation or the green loan as compared to putting those upgrades, updates on a credit card or a second lien from an outside source. I just personally, a couple of years ago, did solar, and the deal the solar company was offering was 9.5%. We refinanced onto a Choice last year and added the solar to the house. Luckily, I'm in the industry and knew I could do that, but it was a great deal versus a 9% loan for solar. So rate shouldn't be a determining factor, and credit scores down to 620.
Wow, that's great. That's great. Someone said I see a question here about down payment. So they can get in with as little as 3% down in these, right?
Yeah, so your standard choice renovation is a 5% down program. And then there is the Home Possible and the Home One, your Borrow Smart. Those all have tweaks to them that will allow borrowers to get to 97% loan to value or 3% down. Then depending on their median income, they could potentially get up to $2,500 in funds to help them with their closing costs and such.
Right. Through the Borrow Smart program that you've got, right? Depending
That
on the
is correct.
borrower's eligibility. And did I hear free?
Free. Yes, free, 25 up to $2,500 free.
Yeah. Who doesn't like free, right? Absolutely. And it can be coupled with, I think, your Neighborhood Edge program.
That is correct. Yes, ma'am.
And that's up to another, what? Is that
That's
another 3?
another 3. Correct.
So there we've got assistance, helping borrowers for down payment to get in the home if they need that. And it can be used with that choice renovation, home possible, layer those, you know, it is easy in, you know, for those clients, and can fix the house up to look like what they want.
Exactly. Yeah, and they
Right?
don't even have to be a first-time home buyer for several of these programs. We'll allow that. And they'll have, and some of them do require a home buyer education course, but not all of these programs do.
Mm-hmm. Excellent, excellent. I wonder, did we make a win here? All right.
It looks like there's a question about, is this good for refinance with cash out?
This would not be a cash out. You're either going to do a renovation loan or you're going to do a cash out loan. So it's 2 different programs, but these are great for refinance, and you can still get your repairs and your updates and all your desired wants added in.
Right. Absolutely.
And then
Somebody's asking about the Neighborhood Edge program. Can you tell us a little bit more about that?
Oh man, you're catching me here.
Oh, I'm sorry.
I apologize. Yes, we do have a Neighborhood Edge, and you can get some free money with that to help you with your down payment. And it is can be combined with the renovation loan for a max of 97% LTV with some help with your down assistance programs. So getting up to 3% help there.
And it's a program that Prime Lending has, right? It's one of your own programs.
Correct. It's been built here. Yes, ma'am.
Excellent. Excellent. So Champagne is asking, are there any properties that wouldn't qualify?
As far as properties that wouldn't qualify, on investment side, 2 to 4 units. Anything on your investments, we'll do a single unit investment property. We will allow condos. So I'm going to say no, as long as you're in the single unit, looking at single units.
Gotcha. Okay. I think that has pretty much gotten it. So the one thing that we'll have to do, if we could put a pin in this, and for those of you, I know there's some couple questions out here about Neighborhood Edge. So maybe that's a question that we could take away, Kale, if we could get back with them on that, or if they could contact you directly for more information. I think if we could share your information, they could find that out. What would you recommend? Your best?
Yes, please. I'll get you some additional information on the Neighborhood Edge, and we can go from there.
Yeah,
Perfect.
if you want to send it to me, Kale, I can put it out. I'm going to send an email to everyone after this is over with the copy of the presentation and the recording. And so I can include the information about the Neighborhood Edge in that email as well, if you'd like.
Fantastic. Thank you.
And then one last question before we wrap up. It says remodeling loans are also for investment properties. That's a question.
And that is correct. Up to single family investment properties.
All right.
Well, I think that's all the questions we had. Did y'all have anything else you wanted to include before we wrap up? Kale or Sandra?
No, but thank you very much for having me, Teresa. Thank you, Sandra.
And thank you, Kale. Thank you, Teresa, for allowing us here. If I could do one shout out, I would like to say we do, if you go to our website, we also have our financial literacy tool there, which is called Credit Smart. Credit Smart is a phenomenal educational financial literacy, financial capability for your clients that are looking to buy, maybe want to know what to expect through the process, our Credit Smart Essentials, as well as we have on there a tutorial for Credit Smart Homebuyer U. It'll take somebody, because our Home Possible and Home One does require homebuyer education. When all borrowers are first-time home buyers, at least one has to take that. It's a tutorial on our website. It's available in English and in Spanish. And again, one of my favorite four-letter words, free, for the client, for your borrowers to take, for your clients to take. And they'll get a certificate at the end showing that they've completed it. And that certificate is good for a year. So highly recommend that. And with that, I just want to thank you for the opportunity to come and speak and bring along Kale with us for the dialogue for all of you today.
Thank you. Thanks, Sandra. Thanks, Kel. Before we leave, I just wanted to mention that our next webinar that we'll have next month is going to be formatted just a little bit differently. As most of you know, HER MLS has partnered with a down payment resource to make it easy for subscribers to identify listings in our matrix that qualify for a down payment assistance program. So we'll be providing in-depth training about how to use this resource. And the first webinar is actually going to take place tomorrow, April 21st, and then again on April 28th and May 5th. So just go to her.com/webinars for more information and to register for those. And also, as you may know, April is Fair Housing Month. So we have a 2-hour CE class that we're holding tomorrow at 10 a.m. that will cover the critical updates and top issues happening in fair housing. So make sure to register for that one at hr.com/education. That's all I have for today, Sandra. Yes.
Could I add one more thing, because I see both our folks from Kale's side and from my side are covering us in the chat. There's a link out there for the Neighborhood Edge program that Sharon has put out there, and then Monica has put out there for our Credit Smart for those that are looking for access to that. So both of those are in the chat for all of you guys.
Thanks, Sandra. And as a reminder, this session was recorded, so I'll be emailing the recording to everyone, and you can also find it on har.com/HARTV. All right, thanks so much for your time, everyone, and everyone have a great rest of the week.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Bye-bye.
Bye.